right. Well, good. Thursday evening, South Carolina Weather Watchers. I'm your meteorologist, Joseph Peterson, and we have some stuff that we are going to go on and talk about tonight from when it comes to the weather. And it's the main thing that we've been talking about for nights past over and over and over again. We are still not getting over this heat in the state of South Carolina. What's on tap? Mostly dry with isolated evening showers possible early tonight, same as always. Highs in the 90s for tomorrow. Dangerous extreme heat as we continue into this weekend. Heat advisories are likely not only tomorrow, but throughout the weekend in general. And we even saw some heat advisories today, and they already have heat advisories planned out for tomorrow. So if you're in the upstate and the Midlands, you could see that. Continued intense heat next week, and then another round still later on in the week next week. So this heat is staying. This heat is staying for weeks at this point, honestly, you may want to say. And doesn't seem to have any stop until we get probably more into like mid-July. So we're going to go on and talk about that. But if you've not hit the like button yet or the subscribe button yet, please go on and do so. It is free. It is free. It is free. Also, the drought prediction polls is going inside of the chat right now. Remember, it's, a pretty simple poll. What you just think has happened to the drought. Obviously, option number 1, the drought has expanded. Option number 2, the drought has shrunk / stayed the same. And then obviously option number 3 being the drought is gone, but abnormally dry remains. And then option number 4, the drought and abnormally dry is gone statewide. So all of that going on in the poll right now. So what's going on throughout the state? Weather currently. Well, right now, nothing. We're looking nice and dry. There was a little isolated shower up there in Greenville. I saw it a bit earlier, but it seems to have disappeared. So we're good there. But what's going on throughout the entire U.S.? Well, it looks like we do have some rainfall going on up there inside of New York, with some severe weather going on up there in New York. We have some severe weather in Alabama going on in Tennessee. We even have some rainfall in Texas, and then some severe weather going on from the Dakotas into Montana, Nebraska, Kansas, rainfall up into the Pacific Northwest, and even down to Nevada. Now, in terms of cloud cover, we are seeing some cloud cover in the upstate, a little bit in the PD areas, but for the most part, most of us are looking mostly clear right now. Not a problem at all. Cloud cover for the future, as we go in and push this forward, cloud cover does kind of just get going into the upstate, mainly as you move into tonight. Then as we move into tomorrow morning, going into like tomorrow afternoon, again, it looks mostly clear for most of us, except for just the upstate. Now, as you go all the way into around Friday night, going into Saturday morning, it looks like cloud cover is going to continue down towards like the low country areas. We're starting to see some rise from like Georgia, Florida, and push its way into the state. And we start to see a resurgence of cloud cover as we move in around the Saturday afternoon time frame. Now, what about for our current temperatures? We're talking about 79 in Somerville, Charleston, 81, Beaufort, 84 in Orangeburg, as well as 78 in Georgetown, 79 Myrtle Beach, and 78 in Conway, 87 still in Columbia, Hartsville also at 87, 86 inside of Greenville, Rock Hill, 87 in Spartanburg, and 89 in Clemson. Now, for our air quality for tonight, it looks like that most of us are inside of that yellow moderate area. If you're in the yellow moderate area, not bad, but also not really too good either. Make sure that you're paying attention for that air quality tonight if you're going to be outside tonight for a long period of time. Low temperatures for tonight, we're talking about 76 Greenville, 75 Spartanburg, even around 74 in Rock Hill, 74 in Columbia, and 72 inside of Orangeburg. You even have around a good 76 in Charleston. Hilton Head Island is also around 76 and 71 in Georgetown. High temperatures for tomorrow, we're talking about 98 in Greenville, Spartanburg, 98 in Newberry, 99 inside of Columbia, even 97 in Walterboro, 92 in Charleston, and 93 Georgetown, 90 in Myrtle Beach. And then also, you can even see some 100s, 100 in Camden and Cheraw. Heat index values for tomorrow, it's going to be hot tomorrow, honestly, statewide, obviously. We know that it's going to be hot, but it honestly looks like that almost everybody could be receiving almost close to 100 degrees, like downtown Charleston, 101 in terms of heat index values, and Myrtle Beach will be 96. Areas in the Midlands, you see like over there in Horry County, you see areas in like the CSRA areas around 105 plus. So we could see some pretty hot temperatures, not only really just reserved towards the upstate, because the upstate definitely got the brunt force of that heat for today, but it could be spread out a little bit more. Rainfall as we move throughout the next 24 hours, it looks like around a good 100th of an inch to a 10th of an inch is definitely possible up there inside of the upstate as we move throughout the next 24 hours, but I would not be shocked if somebody gets that 10th of an inch to a quarter of an inch as we move throughout the next 24. Now, thunderstorms obviously are not taken into account, so obviously some areas, if you do get a thunderstorm, you could see rainfall more than this. This is just if, no thunderstorms was to happen, just some shower activity kind of moving through. Now for the SPC outlook, we know what they like to do. They like to go on and kind of just change it up at 9 o'clock p.m. So we're going to go on real quick and try and refresh it. And they did put out a new one. Here's the new one right here. And it gets rid of our severe weather threat. Gets rid of our severe weather threat here completely. So I will say that as we move even into tomorrow, thunderstorms are still possible, but guess what? Another risk of severe weather for tomorrow. Not really for tornadoes, not for damaging hail, but damaging winds, isolated damaging winds of up to 60 miles per hour up there in Oconee County tomorrow. And then on Saturday, no severe weather is expected for July 4th, but thunderstorms are possible up there in the very far upstate. Fire weather is not expected, obviously excessive rainfall. Not a problem for tonight, tomorrow, or just for the next 4 days, but day five coming along. That is on Monday. Isolated flash flooding over here inside of the Greenville, Spartanburg areas. Gaffney included in there, even in Lancaster, Bennettsville. Anderson is included in there, and Lawrence as well is in there for a marginal risk of excessive rainfall for next week, Monday. Things are going to change. Obviously, we're 5 days out, and it's only a 5% risk, so it's pretty low confidence right now in this, and it definitely will shift around. What's going to happen? Only time will tell, but we know that as we move throughout the next 6 to 10 days, the next even 6 to 14 days, rainfall is going to be trying to make a bit of a resurgence here throughout the state, and we're going to start seeing some beneficial rainfall for sure. As we move into next week. Now, in terms of the crazy score, that is not the correct crazy score for tonight. Let me go in and do some behind-the-scene work real quick, because that was the crazy score from this morning. The crazy score for this afternoon, for this evening, as it goes on and loads itself up right now, actually seems like it is around, give it a second, a 9. It's at a 9 for tonight. So, yeah, that's a lot better than 73. But we're at a 9 for tonight. Makes sense. I mean, we're not seeing too much in terms of cloud cover. We're not seeing too much in terms of rainfall. Obviously, not really too much in terms of severe weather either. Excessive rainfall, not there. So, we're looking pretty good. And just rainfall in general doesn't really look too active either. So, let's go on now and take a look at the models. We're going to go on and take a look at the short term first. Then we're going to go on and take a look at the long term. Make sure you pay attention to the time at the bottom part of your screen, because that is very important to do so. If you lose track of that, there's a good chance that you may go on and, be confused, and we don't want anybody to be confused. So we're going to start off here at 9 p.m. As you move on into tonight, things kind of fizzle out. You're not seeing too much. You may see like a little isolated drizzle or so later on tonight, but again, in the upstate, but it's not going to be much at all. Even if you move into tomorrow afternoon, 2 to 3 p.m., showers and storms start to develop a little bit again. Even as you go into the evening hours, going on into the overnight hours, things calm down. And then as you go into Saturday, late morning, going into the early afternoon, things start to pick right back up once again, July 4th in the upstate. But really, I mean, it only really looks like the upstate for July 4th could potentially receive some activity. I see like areas like the Low Country, the Grand Strand, the PD, even the Southern Midlands. I don't think that those areas are really going to receive any precipitation. Now, Northern Midlands, Central Midlands, watching those areas, but I'm not really too concerned about, especially like the coastal areas, and I think the closer to the coast you are, the less chance you have of receiving rainfall as you move into July 4th. Now, what about for our long-term future? So past July 4th, what do we have? We go into Sunday. Sunday night comes along, and we're starting to see some rainfall kind of popping in here and there from some summertime thunderstorms. But watch as we go into Monday. Monday evening rolls along, and we have some rainfall kind of moving its way down towards the south and east throughout the state. And then as you move more into Tuesday, going into Wednesday, it just continues to bring beneficial rainfall day after day after day, Monday all the way into Wednesday. We go even into Thursday and Friday, we see more rainfall kind of pushing in. So when I say that next week's going to be a bit more of an active week, this is what I'm talking about. Daily rainfall occurrences almost statewide. Now, as you go over into next weekend, this goes into Saturday and Sunday, we're still seeing a good amount of rainfall moving in. And I see, what is that, like a cold front? Or some sort of system trying to come through as we go later on into the week after next week. That's Monday the 13th going into the 14th. And then as you go further on to the future, it's a bit too far out to really talk about, but things do kind of like try to go on and switch up as we get past this weekend here. Now, as you go on and take a look at how much rainfall we could potentially receive over the next 384 hours, this is the GEFS right here, ensemble collection of members put together. And for right now, it's saying that we're around maybe 1.5 inches to maybe around 2.5, 3 inches or so at the max. And that's not bad rainfall. I would like to see maybe a bit more, but that's not bad rainfall at all. Rainfall is rainfall, so we're going to take it. But over a 2-week time span, I definitely would want to see a little bit more rainfall than this, potentially. But, like I said, I'm not complaining about it. The European, obviously about 24 hours behind. Instead of it being 384 hours, it's 360 hours. And honestly, it shows definitely a lesser output than what the GEFS was showing. The European is kind of showing less rainfall, especially in the upstate, and more purple. You weren't seeing this much purple on the GEFS. And now the European, like I said, showing close to around 2.5, 3 inches, so kind of close to what the actual GEFS was saying as a maximum, but has a little bit more of a lower floor. Now, if we go on and take a look at our temperatures now, because precipitation, for the most part, that's all that I have there. For the future, we move over into Friday, tomorrow. We get, highs going all the way up 10 to 15 degrees above average tomorrow. We go into Friday, July 4th. We're talking about 10 to 15 degrees above average. And then as you move over into Sunday, going over into Monday and Tuesday, we're still looking 10 to 15 degrees above average. And I've said this for days on end. July 4th is not the end of the heat. Just because most people are talking about July 4th heat does not mean that July 4th is the only day that we're going to receive heat. I just said it on What's on Tap earlier. I said that the heat will likely continue on all the way into the late week next week. So we're not going to be done with heat after July 4th. We're not. You go on further into Wednesday, we're still 10 degrees above average. We move on to next weekend. Next weekend, 15, 16, 17 degrees above average. Next week, Sunday, not, Sunday in a couple of days, but I guess next weekend, Sunday, we're still pretty much above average. Now, like I said, as we get into mid-July, we're watching for a storm system that may try to come in and try and cool stuff down. So I said that if you want cooler weather, you have some hope. As you move more on in towards the middle parts of the month. But how long does it really last? That's a question that we're going to have to wait to see, that's way over 300 hours. Now, as we go on and take a look at our actual temperatures themselves, we're going to start off here at around 9 hours out. This is 11 p.m. Right here, we go on and push this forward. Obviously, tomorrow, high temperatures up into the hundreds. We know that. High temperatures on July 4th up into the hundreds. We know that. But as you go more and more into next week, you're still seeing temperatures up into the hundreds, 103 in some spots. I see 102 in some spots. You move over into Thursday, going over even into Friday, 105 in some spots at the end of the week next week. And this heat expands all the way through into next weekend to where we're talking about 104, 105 going into Sunday. We go over into Monday and Tuesday, but that's where our cooler air comes in as we go into July the 14th, which is Tuesday here, and highs in the 80s. Highs in the 80s, lows in the 60s. So, like I said, relief is on the way potentially, but we're still going to have to refine some details, and it's still a bit too far out. Let's go on and take a look at our actual heat index values, and we'll take a look at the ensembles. But as we go on and push this forward, heat index values up to 100, 102, 103, at 105 as you go into tomorrow. Saturday, July 4th, even hotter, get up to around 107, 108. You go over into the weekend, we're still up past 100 going into Tuesday, going even into Wednesday, we're still up 104, 105. You go into the week after, even, we're still talking about heat index values up into 108, but then cool air moves in, and then those heat index values don't really get as high anymore. Now, what's going on in terms of the ensemble? So obviously we know mid-month that we could potentially be looking at a system that may try to come through. And in fact, I'm going to switch this up on the fly right now. I'm just going to go on and go straight to here. And one thing that you do see is that as you move closer towards the middle part of the month, you see some blue kind of getting going, and that's because, it's detecting, like a low pressure. You can see like a low pressure right there going on into mid-month, and then after it kind of moves away, obviously some more warmer, more ridge-like atmosphere kind of goes on. But you can definitely see as you move more and more towards like the middle parts of this low pressure that right here that starts to kind of form up. And so what does that mean for temperatures for the future? Well, temperatures for the future, they honestly show still high 90s, but as you move towards the middle of the month, those temperatures kind of stall out in like the lower 90s. So you are seeing a decrease here in the models, especially on the ensembles as you move more and more towards the middle part, even going towards like the middle end parts. But that's all that I have to say here in terms of our forecast, and that pretty much wraps up the main forecast and just really talking about why July 4th and just for the future ahead, it's going to continue to stay hot. So remember, still stay hydrated, still check on people, still make sure that if you want to go outside, do work outside, do it during the morning, do it during the evening, do it, just when it's not the peak part of the day. And if you have to, do it during the peak part of the day. Just make sure you're drinking water every 15, 20 minutes or so. And just make sure that you are not developing any signs of heat stroke either. Not sweating, not dizziness, anything along those lines. And that's pretty much all I have to say here for the main forecast here. So we're going to go on and take a look at the drought because it's drought time. And I've already made my position. I've already made my prediction as we go on and take a look at the drought. As we go into like the next or the past 168 hours, which is the past 7 days or so, I take a look at this and I'm like, okay, well, maybe not. Here we go. I take a look at this and I'm just like, okay, like I see a good amount of rainfall in the southern Midlands. But one thing that I don't really see is a whole lot of rainfall down here for the low country areas. And I look up here in the upstate, I see some, going on over here inside of the upstate areas, which is good. I don't see too much going on where this red area is, like in Marlborough County, where that D3 is. But I'm actually going to go with the lesser, and we're going to go on and end this right now. I'm going to go with the lesser. I'm going to be a part of the 17% that thinks that the drought has shrunk / stayed the same. 83% thinks that the drought has expanded, and 0% thinks that the drought is gone. So we're going to go in and get a drum roll. We're going to go on and reveal this, and I'm honestly kind of interested because I really think that, honestly, both of those answers could honestly try and be correct. So I would not be shocked. But let's go and get a drum roll. And honestly, just taking a look, yeah, I think I'm gonna have to give it to the majority here. I think I am. I think I am gonna have to give it to the majority because I'm just taking a look at it now. And one of the things that I do see immediately is Williamsburg County up here being completely engulfed in red. Florence County now, Marion County's in there. Georgetown County is now completely encompassed. A lot of Berkeley County getting taken over again. All of Horry County is now in the D3 extreme drought now. And the G3 up here in Marlborough County and Darlington County is now included in it. So, yeah, I think I'm gonna have to say that most likely, we're that the 83% got it correct. But I am gonna, go on and take a look at the past one just to make sure, that I'm not mistaken or anything like that. I'm gonna make sure real quick. But I'm just gonna give you all a round of applause real quick for getting it correct. As I go on and take a look at last week's drought monitor, and I'm looking at it now. It's definitely not even close. Not even close at all. Did not decrease at all, I don't think. Let me go in and take a look and show y'all on my screen what I'm looking at. So this is last week's. This is June 25th. This was the last one. And we can see definitely for sure a good amount of the red not really being too much in Williamsburg County. We saw Florence County not really getting any. Marion County not really getting any. And then we see Horry County's not completely taken over. And then also up here, I'm not seeing any decretion from what we're seeing over here on the new drought now. So, yeah, I'll take the loss on this one, but I'll be back next week. I'll be back next week. But congratulations again to the 83% that got it correct. But that's all I have to say here for the drought monitor. Let's go on now because we did not have any earthquakes. We're good in terms of earthquakes for today. Let's go on and talk with the audience. If you want to be a part of the audience, you can by joining us here at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Let's see what the audience has to say for tonight. Starting off here inside of the chat, my Aunt Lula says, "Good evening, everyone. Good evening to you." My Nana says, "Hello, Jay. Another hot day." Well, thank you so much for that weather update. My Aunt Lula says today's high was around 89. Humidity was 95. Currently, it's 80 degrees. It was a pretty hot day in Georgetown today. I tried going out early, but it did not work. Still hot outside. Well, thank you so much for that report for where you are currently at my location, at my house. It is around, that's the wrong one. I can't type for some reason. Here we go. It's around 82, currently 82. Feels like 86, and it was a high temperature today of around 95. My cousin Cheryl says, "Good evening, weatherman. It was a very hot day here in Philly. Good evening, everyone. I hope you all are well, trying to stay cool. I'm a little bit under the weather. I think I have stomach flu. Well, hopefully you feel better soon. I'm sorry to hear that." Cheryl says, "Greetings, everyone. Greetings to you." And then my Aunt Lula says, "Yes, water is needed in this heat." She also says, "Yes, the drought has expanded." I'm assuming that you mean that because you got the answer correct, not that you're cheering on the drought. But because obviously here on this channel, we don't cheer on droughts or anything like that. But if we get the prediction correct, we will cheer that on. So I'm just gonna assume that that's what you meant there. But that's all that I can see here in terms of the chat for tonight. So let's go on and talk about the 4 areas outside of South Carolina. You might be asking, 4 areas? What am I talking about? I'm talking about San Antonio, Texas, Raleigh, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, as well as Duncan, Oklahoma. The reason why we talk about these 4 areas because we have people from these areas who tune in almost nightly, and because they tune in almost nightly, like my cousin Cheryl in Philadelphia, we go on and give them their forecast for them. And honestly, I forgot to do the top fan question of the night for tonight. So let's go on real quick and do that real quick, and then we will go on and answer it. This one's going to be kind of simple, and honestly, I think that anybody can answer this question. There was a little dot inside of the low country area that had a moderate risk of air quality for tonight. What was the city, town, or designated area that is included in there? And there's obviously a bunch. So if you can name the city, a town, or a designated area inside of that moderate risk of air quality for tonight in the low country, I'll give you top fan of the night for tonight. I'll give you top fan of the night for tonight. So you can go on and start guessing inside the chat. Again, I think anybody can get it. If you know towns or cities in the low country, you can just guess away at this point. But we're going to start off with San Antonio first. You have low temperatures tonight at 76, high temperatures for tomorrow at 94, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 75. No precipitation is expected at this time, and no precipitation is expected for the next 7 days, as it looks like that you are just continuing to stay dry. And no rainfall for you, which is unfortunate because I know that you said that you definitely wanted the rainfall. And also, I know that in terms of your drought right now, I do believe that you're definitely, you're not in a bad drought right now. 1 second. You're definitely not inside of a bad drought right now. I think that you are around D0. So yeah, I don't even think you're inside of a drought right now. Yeah, no, I don't think you're inside of a drought right now. I think you're like just out of it. But obviously, if you don't see that rainfall soon, you could see it start to expand a little bit more. You could definitely start to see it expand. So we want to see that rainfall for you. But again, I don't see it for the next 7 days. And then it's also going to stay hot. You're in the mid-90s. You're going into next week. You're still in the mid-90s. It's just going to continue to stay hot for you. Now, in terms of Raleigh, North Carolina, you have low temperatures tonight at 75, high temperatures for tomorrow at 102, low temperatures tomorrow night at 76. No precipitation is expected at this time. And then in terms of your future, we're going to start off severe weather-wise. It looks like that you are mostly good as you move into, oops, that's the wrong one. As you move over into the next 8 days or so, you're not looking for any sort of severe weather. Excessive rainfall-wise, though, I do believe you have a risk. Yes, on Monday, isolated flash flooding is possible for you. Again, 5%, 5 days out, things are going to change. Very low confidence, but things, the chance is there. The chance is there. Now we're going to move over into Philadelphia. Let me go in and check out the chat, and, well, already there's an answer. Charleston. That was a possible answer that you could have guessed. So, congratulations to my Aunt Lula for winning the top fan of the night for tonight. So again, congratulations to you. We'll go over honorable mention in just a moment. Let's go ahead and finish this up though. Philadelphia, low temperatures tonight 82, high temperatures for tomorrow at 104, low temperatures tomorrow night at 83. This is kind of weird. Because according to the National Weather Service, you have no chance of precipitation tomorrow. Right? Okay, we get it. We see it. No precipitation is expected tomorrow. But the SPC has you under a slight risk of severe weather for tomorrow and for Saturday. Now, Saturday, you do have a risk of thunderstorm activity. But they do not have you under a risk of any rainfall for tomorrow. And so I guess that's just a disagreement, potentially, in terms of, or it could just because you have the ingredients there, possibly. But if I go into July 3rd, the models show the rainfall kind of dissipating. I do see the storm activity as you move into like the nighttime hours, but I think what they're looking at is as it moves towards Philadelphia, it kind of just fizzles out. So tomorrow is kind of just a build or bust day, to be honest. And like I said, if you do get any severe weather, it would probably be like very late, like 12 to 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, going into July 4th. And that threat would be obviously damaging winds of up to 60 miles per hour. Small hail, potentially, as well. But again, this is a boom or bust situation. You may get some severe weather with, damaging winds, or you just may not even get a drop of rainfall tomorrow. That's just what it is. And Saturday, you do have a chance of rainfall. You also have a 15% risk of damaging winds there. And Sunday, you may also see some severe weather later on. Excessive rainfall wise, you do have a risk of excessive rainfall for Saturday, July 4th. You have a 5% risk there. You have a 15% risk on Sunday and then a 15% risk on Monday. So excessive rainfall is going to be definitely a part of your forecast for you. So let's go on now and move on over into your future, as it looks like you're going to continue to stay hot, but next week it will be cooling down. Another thing is it will be staying active, but as you move to around like Tuesday night, Wednesday, things calm down. Then finally for Duncan, Oklahoma, you have low temperatures tonight at 75, high temperatures for tomorrow at 95, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at around a good 76. No precipitation is expected for you throughout the next 7 days. We're not expecting that. No, let me check for excessive rainfall and severe weather. No, you have nothing there, so you're good. Temperatures are going to continue to stay up into the mid to upper 90s all throughout this week and next week, so you definitely will not have to worry too much in terms of any cooler air coming in, because you will be staying hot. And that's all they have to say here in terms of these 4 areas. So let's go on real quick, see what's going on throughout the entire U.S. weather news-wise. Well, for right now, dangerous record-breaking heat will continue across most of the central and the eastern U.S. through Friday, then focusing across the eastern U.S. through the Independence Day holiday weekend. Peak heat indices of up to 115 degrees are possible. Isolated to scattered severe thunderstorms are possible from the northern central plains into the Midwest, the Ohio Valley, and the Mid-Atlantic on Friday. So a bunch of severe weather's coming in, a bunch of heat, obviously, no matter where you go along the East Coast or the central, or honestly, I should say more of the Ohio Valley going over into the Midwest. It's going to be hot. It's going to be hot. And then there's also some fire weather going on over there in the west, in the Four Corners area, Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, getting in on some fire weather, and then severe weather also going on up there inside of the plains as well. So a lot of things going on as we move throughout the next, honestly, couple of days. And make sure, like I said, this is an important time. We're getting towards the holiday weekend, and we are pretty much, we're in hurricane season, but things may start getting more active at any time. So this is the perfect time for you to go and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the share button, because it's free, it's free, it's free. I always say it, it always will be free unless YouTube decides they want to do something different. But for now, it looks like it will always be free. And then no emails. I don't see anything else here. So I think that's about all I have to really say for tonight. So make sure you tune in tomorrow morning, Friday morning forecast update. Tomorrow evening, Friday evening forecast update. Also, we'll be at the end of the week tomorrow. So we'll have the applause for that. I may not be here on Saturday evening. Obviously, it is July 4th night, so that's a possibility. And then, honestly, we didn't really have any honorable mentions really to say for tonight. So that's all I have to say there. Make sure you hit those 2 buttons before you leave if you are new. And make sure you subscribe. 761 subscribers, trying to get to 800.